My cousin, 25 female, and I, 24 female, decided it would be a great idea to take our beloved four-legged companions to the local dog park on a pleasant day. Our dogs were in dire need of socialization and playtime since they had been driving us crazy at home. We arrived at the park around mid-morning, and everything was going smoothly until an unexpected incident occurred. While we were enjoying the company of our furry friends, an eccentric woman, E.M., approached the fence and complimented our adorable dogs. Naturally, we thanked her for the kind words. However, what followed was a rather peculiar conversation. E.M., how much for that lovely Labrador? Me, well, I paid $600 for him, but he's not for sale if that's what you're asking. E.M., oh, my son really wants a puppy, and your lab looks perfect for him. My cousin, that's wonderful. Why don't you check out the local shelters? They often have labs available for adoption. E.M., why would I do that when I can simply take that lab right there? Me, I'm sorry, but you're not taking my dog. Besides, where is your son at the moment? E.M., he's in the car. Do I need to come into the park and get the dog myself? My cousin, lady, you are absolutely not taking her dog. We will not hesitate to call the police. Suddenly, the E.M. brazenly hopped over the fence and attempted to snatch my dog. It was at that moment her son exited the car, questioning her actions and instructing her to leave the puppy and return to the vehicle. Recognizing the gravity of the situation, my cousin promptly dialed the police, who arrived swiftly at the park. Astonishingly, the E.M. began to claim that we were trying to steal her dog. I quickly countered her false claim by presenting the official documents that proved my ownership. The E.M.'s face flushed with anger as she futilely tried to make her escape, only to be detained by the determined police officers. Meanwhile, her son was safely entrusted to the care of a family member. In the end, justice prevailed, and I felt relieved. I decided to press charges against the E.M. for her attempted theft. As my cousin and I reflected on the incident, we couldn't help but find the whole situation rather absurd, and we shared a good laugh. I'm staying at quite a nice hotel for a game convention. I got a good hotel. My company pays for it since we have a booth there and I'm doing seminars. The good news is I get a suite room with good service and a free breakfast buffet. The bad news is some of the other guests are entitled jerks and the minibar costs like $100 if you just open the fridge door and peek inside. Yes, a slight exaggeration. The entitled business people guests seem worse than usual at conventions because they have to share their hotel with vendors and gaming geeks generally clad in cosplay and game-oriented t-shirts. I guess we drag down the tone or something. I will say that the hotel staff has no problem with us. In fact, they seem to enjoy us there. We probably break up the monotony. Anyway, I am waiting in line at the front desk because I have something I need to set up. The guy in front of me is loudly threatening the clerk. Guy in front loudly declares something like, I am going to keep my room until 4 p.m. tomorrow, and I don't want to pay any extra. Then he insults the clerk. Sorry, don't remember the exact slur, but it wasn't clever. The clerk, stone-faced, says, Sorry, sir, you need to pay for a full day if you're not out of the room by 11 a.m. sharp. Then she points at the sign on the wall. Guy in front huffs and puffs and then says, she can bill his card for the extra day. He is pretty steamed about it, but knows when he's been beat. Note, I have no idea why he couldn't check out earlier and just store his luggage at the desk. I've done that dozens of times for zero fee. Anyway, my heart sinks when I reach the front because I was literally going to ask for the exact same thing. I, too, wanted to keep my room till 4 p.m., and I couldn't just store my luggage down front because I had some valuable stuff in it, like a cash box and some one-of-a-kind collectibles. We had to stay late because we realized we would not be able to take down our booth until tomorrow morning. In the past, we've always been able to do it the evening before, but the convention changed its rules on us. So I look at the clerk and say, I am so sorry. I needed to stay in my room until 4 p.m. as well, but I guess I can't. I don't want it to go on my company card, so I'll pay on this card, and I start digging for my wallet. The clerk, still stone-faced, says, No problem, sir. I've just told the cleaners that you will be out of the room by 6 p.m., and there is no additional fee. It was a couple weeks before Christmas, and in the back of the store, every department manager stood hoping they would not draw the short straw. The boss had wanted to do some big displays for our store, which meant one of us had to go down to the nearest crafts and homewares place to pick up the balloons he'd ordered and a few other things. We were drawing straws because no one likes running errands to this place. It's basically walking into the lion's den of ladies who insist you work there. A large number of the customers are either senior citizens or entitled soccer mums. Their uniform is similar to ours in that we both wear black pants and steel caps. They never have enough staff on, and the queues at the till are long no matter when you go. You cannot walk in there looking even vaguely like you may work in retail or you're going to get hassled. As you can guess by reading this, I draw the short straw. I took off my uniform shirt, picked up my backpack, put in my headphones, hoping that this would protect me somewhat, and walked into the store, which was already shoulder to shoulder. And as usual, they only had a couple of tills open with lines snaking around the store. Great! I breezed through that store, avoiding eye contact with everyone, headphone in but off so I can hear what's going on. I'm still having loads of people try to catch my eye and wave me down. By the time I get what I need, I've already had to point to my headphones about 15 times because people are just coming up to me and asking me stuff. I take my place at the end of the massive queue. I've got a big trolley stuff and a huge bunch of helium balloons. There is a group of about 4 older women behind me whining about how long the line is. I notice that one woman is talking louder, raising her voice, saying something like they must open another till, whatever happened to customer service, etc. She's occasionally clearing her throat, and I get the impression she thinks I'm an employee and wants me to overhear. I was not wrong. After a couple more minutes of this and very little movement, there's a tap on my shoulder. Lady, are you going to open, me? I don't work here. I shove my headphones back in. A few more minutes go by, and the lady is still whining. Another shoulder tap. Lady, can't you just... Me? No. Headphone back in. I'm hoping my bluntness has gotten through to her. More whining, more minutes. Another tap. Lady, the line is just very long and we're in a knee. So go get a till on then. I'd really had enough of her nonsense by now. Lady looks like I just told her Wheel of Fortune reruns are canceled. Excuse me, I just wanna... Knee. Yeah, I'm in a hurry too, so why don't you open a till? Lady, I don't work here. I'm a cust. Nay, neither do I, and I'm a customer too, but apparently that doesn't matter to you, so on you go. Open a till. We're waiting. The look of shock on the face of her and her friends was incredible. We kind of stared at each other for a second or two while she registered that I wasn't kidding around. Then I turned back and they went back to their muttering. I didn't get another shoulder tap after that. I hope she learned a lesson that day. So this takes place in the summer of 1975. At the time, my sons were 9 and 7. Also, they were in the Cube Scouts. Like most kids, they quickly made friends with the other kids, and as a dad, I made friends with the other dads that volunteered. Most of us got along well with the families, except for the entitled mother and her son. The mother was extremely clueless about her own son and basically refused to parent him. She was more into the lifestyle of a mom, being in mommy groups and spending her husband's money rather than being a good parent to her son. The dad was a good person but worked a lot, so he was absent. Her 9-year-old son was a notorious bully. He was overly aggressive. He hit other children, stole items, and was extremely disrespectful towards other adults. When the other parents brought this up, she would make constant excuses for him. He's just a boy. He's just expressing himself. Your kids started it. What made it worse was that the entitled mother would pacify her son's behavior with sweets, toys, and other things that he wanted. Because of this, the other parents and I didn't invite the mother and her son to events that took place outside of Scouts. The entitled mother would often call our home about getting sleepovers or having her son play with our kids, which we were adamant about not happening. If we didn't give in, she said, you're bullying my son by excluding him. How could you do that to a child? She also threatened to call the governor for discrimination because she's a Baptist. So late June, the other parents and I were talking about a beach trip to Santa Cruz and bringing our families with us. We talked through everything among the 10 other moms and dads about planning this out. The entitled mother must have overheard what we were saying because she just came over with her son and said, "Entitled mother, can you take my son with you? I have to do something with my husband." "Nay, what? Where?" Entitled mother to Santa Cruz. "Nay, no, you and your son are not invited. This is a friend's only trip." Entitled kid, "You're a big meanie," kicks me in the leg and runs away. Entitled mother, "Look what you did." Child hater, she leaves and chases after him. Because this was a big trip, we decided to go shopping and hit the road on Friday. We had to do lots of shopping in bulk to reasonably feed 12 adults and 18 kids. My wife and I, along with 4 other parents, were watching the cars and keeping the kids occupied. For a brief moment, I turned my attention to my car to turn the AC up cause my kids said that they were hot. I turn over, and the entitled boy is there with his bag and the mom peeling out in her station wagon. We are all just in shock, asking ourselves, is this really happening to us? The boy's mother gave him a note that had his allergies and an emergency phone number. We call no answer. We can't leave the kid here alone, and we're not going to bring him with us, so we opted to call the police. We put the kid in the car to keep him out of the sun, and we made the call. We report the entitled mother for the abandonment of her child. They sent an officer out in 15 to 20-ish minutes. The other parents and I go back to our cars to look out for the police. When we get back, the entitled boy is pulling my 4-year-old daughter's hair. The reason why? The kids had some snacks in the cooler and didn't want to share them with entitled boy. What later proceeded as we were running to the car is 10 of the boys pull the entitled boy off my daughter and proceed to beat him. Now, the kids had 2 years of rage towards this kid bottled up inside, so what took place wasn't surprising. The entitled kid is bleeding, crying. He says that we're all mean and started demanding food from us. He was cussing us out, hitting things, and said, "Entitled boy, I want to go on the trip now." He kept parroting this over and over again. I yelled to him, "Shut up," which only made him cry more. Now, I will admit I was probably in the wrong here. But this is one of the few children I have truly hated in my life. The police arrived soon after, and we explained what happened. Apparently, he was dropped off at his father's job. The mother received a child neglect charge. When she saw that our kids beat up hers, she tried to charge our kids for assault. It was dropped because it was self-defense. But all in all, my friends and our kids had a great week in Santa Cruz.